Why not Ezekiel's temple? In my last video, Nothing Can Happen Without Purification, I mentioned how the temple that the Temple Institute plans to build is a replica of the Second Temple, not Ezekiel's temple. There is an article on their website that explains why. Due to copyright restrictions, I can't quote them here. I will put a link to the full article in the description. But basically they claim they do not have the insight and understanding in our time to build it and are waiting until that time that they do. Well, this video will explain how we already know more than you may think, and as I also spoke about in my prior video, the red heifer will bring about that to happen even more. This realization shocked me, and I don't think most people also realize this. When Jews think about the idea that a temple will finally be built, the prophecy of Ezekiel and Isaiah comes to mind. That there will be this utopia of peace and worship of the one true God of Israel throughout the world. But the Temple Institute is not working with that mindset. They are solely working by the words of the Rambam, Maimonides, and sages in the Talmud that command that we should do everything to rebuild the Second Temple whether there is a Messiah or not. And this commandment is binding for all time. Okay, so wait a minute. If it's binding for all time to rebuild the Second Temple, then when will Ezekiel's temple ever be built? That's really weird wording. Why wouldn't they at least say until the Messiah comes or until we have the understanding to build Ezekiel's temple? There are some aspects of Ezekiel's temple included in the Second Temple which are explained in the above linked Temple Institute article. I didn't know what the differences were between the Second Temple and Ezekiel's temple, so I googled it. Turns out Ezekiel's temple is bigger mostly because he calls for a large area around it to be sanctified to the Kohanim and Levites. I learned this because there are actual people, Christians, who have made architectural drawings and 3D renderings of what the temple should look like. So while Jews have been busy trying to recreate the Second Temple, Christians have been trying to create Ezekiel's temple. The controversy then becomes where to put it. This one site I found thinks it should be not on the Temple Mount, but 30 kilometers south of Jerusalem where she claims Abraham really went to sacrifice Isaac. Wait, what? She's saying Mount Moriah is not the Temple Mount. This is new to me. Could this be possible? Great. So I just became convinced the Temple Mount was the place of both the first and second temple after being told maybe it wasn't. Now this. After some quick research, I'm still not sure. Abraham came a 3 days journey all the way from Beersheba and built an altar. Could he even make it all the way to Jerusalem in 3 days? Wouldn't there still be the original altar? And wouldn't the Book of Chronicles mention this when describing where the temple was built instead of just being a threshing floor? Okay, so I have no idea what she is talking about because she speaks in all these Christian terms I have no idea what they mean, and I certainly don't agree that Christians will be the ones to build it, but maybe she is onto something. In Ezekiel, he doesn't specifically say what mountain he is shown. He mentions a city on the southern side of the mountain but doesn't give a name. He would know what Jerusalem looked like. The description he gives does not sound like Jerusalem as we know it today. I think it is a new city. He even describes the boundaries of these new areas and gives it a new name, Yahweh is there. If these ordinary people can figure this much out, why can't the people at the Temple Institute? Why can't they work on both? Why should I have to rely on Christians to figure this out? If the Temple Institute won't, I'm hereby calling on Jews to seriously work on figuring out how and where to build Ezekiel's temple. After studying the plans for Ezekiel's temple, I noticed one thing missing. There seems to be no area for the Sanhedrin or courts. Is this just an oversight, or deliberate? These plans only take into account what is written in the book of Ezekiel, nothing more. Is this what they mean by them not understanding everything? If the temple is 30 kilometers south of Jerusalem, then the Sanhedrin could stay in Jerusalem or wherever it wanted. Then an idea hit me. Could it be that this is why the Talmud favors the second temple over Ezekiel's temple? The Sanhedrin, Pharisees and Rabbinic Judaism was born during the Second Temple period. Could it be that they may realize they would have to give up their power back to the priesthood? I had already figured out myself that any new temple would require the reinstatement of the priestly class from the line of Zadok. That would mean going back to a system before Rabbinic Judaism. I'm not an expert in Talmud, but a reasonable person might conclude that that might give an incentive to the sages, rabbinate, to hold on to their power as long as possible. Think about it. As it is now, any Kohanim actually takes their orders from the rabbinate by abiding by the instructions set in the Mishnah Torah and elsewhere. There are so many already corrupt laws and decisions, that I don't think it is even feasible to run a temple without a Messiah or doing away with the majority of rabbinic tradition. But with a temple without a rabbinate, the priests would not be obligated to adhere to any of this. After all, the priests are supposed to be inherently more pure and wise, and we should listen to them, not the rabbis. Of course there would still be courts, but don't the priests have control over who presides in the courts? Certainly in matters of worship like Shabbos, holidays and purity? It even states in Ezekiel that the Kohanim are responsible for ministering and judging, especially in matters of the holy Sabbaths and purity. So here I may have actually proved my theory that the rabbinate is inherently corrupt and might actually try to thwart any attempt to actually fulfill Ezekiel's prophecy. This is a huge revelation, and I know this idea won't be popular, but as I continue to post, I hope you will come to the same conclusion. I also realized it's Ezekiel's temple I am yearning for, not just any temple. If you also are yearning for Ezekiel's temple, please like, share, follow me, and consider making a donation. Thank you.